This Ford Expedition is back again for replacing this connector on the blower motor resistor. So first of all, I'm just gonna go ahead, unplug it, and make sure that this end matches this one, and they do look to be the same. Alright, so I'm all done with this Expedition. I did not solder anything together because inside of the kit included everything to crimp all the wires together. It even came with some nice quality heat shrink in it, the one that has the glue inside of it once it melts. Came with the instructions, you know, saying to crimp everything together. So here's where I'm at. I still have to wrap all of it up in some tape to make it look a little bit neater. But I tried to do as clean of a job as possible. It's on right now, it's running, and as you can see by moving it, it does not affect the fan anymore like it did before. So we have a fix here, and it's just a matter of making those wires look pretty with some tape, but this one's all set. Here I have this Cadillac Cts. Like I mentioned in my previous video, we ordered the parts, the upper control arm and lower control arm. So I'm taking it all apart right now to get it done, and sorry, I'm out of breath. Car's been kicking my butt. Now I'm on the right side of the car. As you can see, I took everything out because it just seemed like it had to come out, like there was no way around it, because here's the lower control arm, and the way the strut mounts to it, you're never going to pull this out or slide it out without, you know, loosening or completely removing those bolts from the strut tower up there. And once you do that, you're going to be fighting with it just to get it. It's just going to be in your way all the time. So it's just, you already got the bolts loose or out, just take the whole strut assembly out the car. It's just 10 times easier. And once everything's out of your way, this control arm just pretty much falls out. So just time to put the new one back in. Alright, so I am in this Cadillac, what is it, CTS4. It's the one that I just did the upper and lower control arm on because of a wobble. And after I took it back to the customer, you know, I told him, come pick up your car, it's done. He asked me if replacing the lower control arms fixed his ABS light. I was like, what are you talking about? That has nothing to do with it. So anyways, I checked the codes, and he's got erratic signal coming from right rear, and look at that. So we have right front and right rear, and look at that lower signal. So that's why your ABS light is on. Alright, and he also has a check engine light for his bank 2 cat efficiency. I'm trying to get this to focus here. Okay, so here's bank 1. See how it looks, right? Let's see if I could swipe over. And look at bank 2 at the bottom. And I do have my foot on the accelerator pedal. So it's not much, but compared to bank 1, there is a difference. And I think the computer is seeing that, and that's why it's throwing a code for efficiency on bank 2. Alright, so here we have a 2010 Ford Focus, and it needs tie rods. I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down so you can see this. So you can see how bad it is, and you would think that it needs a wheel bearing, but no, the tie rods are shot, and it's the same exact thing on the driver's side. Alright, so this Ford Focus is all set. It's got all new tie rods on it. And if we go ahead and check the wheels now, absolutely no play. So this one's set, and it will live to die another day. Here we have a 2013 Nissan Sentra, and customer complaint is a loud noise coming from the rear brakes. To me it sounds like metal on metal. I'm just gonna assume that the brake shoes are completely wasted. Also the brake pedal goes lower than it should, obviously because the brake shoes are non-existent is what I'm assuming. So let's go ahead and dig into this thing, see what we can find. Alright, so this just turned into a bigger job than just the brakes, because yep, wow, that is a bad wheel bearing. Alright, so here I'm on the right side, and it turns out there's nothing wrong with the brakes. I mean, sure, they could use replacing, right? They're kind of worn down a little bit, but the actual noise we're having is not the brakes. This is why you don't assume. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. But yeah, so I'm gonna see if the customer still wants to get the brakes done since we're in here. But number one priority is getting a wheel bearing, and I think a new drum, since this one's scored up pretty bad. Okay, so here's where we're at with this Sentra. When I looked at the stores in this area, there's two basic wheel bearings for this. We got a $90 wheel bearing and one for $150. The only store that has one in stock, they happen to have the one for $150, okay? And normally I wouldn't mind running out to get a part for a customer and they could just reimburse me. The problem is I have not heard back from the customer. I texted and called her, have not heard back from her, and that store that carries the part closes in about 20 minutes. So by the time I hear back from her, I'm sure the store will be closed already. So most likely I'm not even gonna end up doing this job tonight. That's even if the customer wants to get it done. So it looks like I'm just gonna go ahead and, you know, slap these things back together and park the car up front. Alright, so we are back once again with this Nissan Sentra. Got the new wheel bearing installed, and let's look inside of here. This is where the ABS sensor goes. You can see all that play we have here. If you look inside of there, that's where the sensor tries to pick up off of that. It looks like a magnetic ring. So this car does have the ABS light on, so you can imagine why. So I would imagine it's kind of killing two birds with one stone here. We're fixing the wheel bearing and fixing the ABS light that's on the dash. Okay, so it's about 11 p.m. Obviously the wheel bearing issue is all done, but I don't like how her brake pedal feels, how it goes all the way to the ground, and the reason for that is because the rear drums are not adjusted properly. And what's going on here is the adjusting mechanism inside the drum assembly is so full of dirt and grime that it could no longer adjust. It's just kind of stuck in place. So this one I had to do a lot of cleaning on it and, you know, re-lubricate it, and I got it moving free, so I adjusted it, and this side is nice and tight how it should be. I'm gonna go do the one on the passenger side and hopefully get a better brake pedal out of this thing. So it's getting late and I'm trying to get it done because the customer needs the car by tonight. Okay, so here I am on the right side of the car, and sure enough, the adjusting mechanism was seized in place. So again, a lot of brake parts cleaner and penetrating fluid to break it free, and now I can adjust it. She must have been driving like this for a while, because they were just so far out of spec that brake pedal just goes all the way to the floor. So yeah, just by doing the one on that side, I jumped in the car real fast before I came over here to check the pedal, and it feels 10 times better just with doing that one side. Another thing is, see this little spring right here? On the other side it was completely missing, and I found a little chunk inside the drum, It was like this big, and it was all ground down, you know, from the bad wheel bearing. I guess it came off and just got destroyed. So I found one in my collection, and I put it on the other side, and it's working. So just gonna finish adjusting all of this right here, and this Nissan Sentra should be all set. So last night I broke another one of these wing weighing air hammer bits. Now I did go on Snap-on's website, and they had one similar. It had a slightly longer shank on it, but when you click on it, it just doesn't exist. I don't know if the part's discontinued. I tried searching a part number, and I really can't find anything. I went on Matco's website, and again couldn't find anything. So if anyone knows where I could get another one of these smoothing bits for the air hammer, you know, a nice quality one, because these cheap eBay and Amazon ones, they just keep on breaking. So if you know where I could get a nice quality one, either comment, send me a message, whatever. I'd appreciate the help. Alright, so we are here with this Suburban. Juan brought his truck back again, and this guy's been jumping out. He's been, big dude, he said he's been having to jump out the passenger door, right? Wow. And I know that fucking sucks. So he took it to a shop. You know, he couldn't get the door open from the outside or the inside, and they just destroyed all kinds of crap here. You can see where they started drilling holes in here. And I came in through the top right here and eventually got it free. And now it opens from the outside. It won't open from the inside still because we're missing the rod that connects the latch to this door handle right here. But at least we're a step in the right direction. Now he can actually get out through the driver's side. Alright, so here we have an F-150, and you can see the condition of the brakes on it. But customer is not getting the rotors changed. He just doesn't have the money right now. He just wants to put new pads on it. Look at that, you can pretty much see the veins in the rotors. So this is crazy. I told him these new pads are not gonna last a week on these things. And he said next week he'll have the money to change the rotor, and hopefully AutoZone will warranty the pads out so he doesn't have to pay for another set of pads. Problem is now you're paying for labor twice. So this really sucks. It just kills me to even have to do something like this, you know. But so I had a hell of a time trying to get these pistons to go in. I could not fit this tool in here initially. I couldn't even fit this in there. It just wouldn't fit. So had to resort to this, which I really don't like doing, especially since these might be phenolic pistons. I'm not really sure, but I think they are. Anyway, it was a pain in the butt to get them in because the pistons were so far out of the caliper that they were at an angle, you know. So I had to make sure I got them nice and straight before I could push them in. Look how bad this rotor is just from that line leaning on it. Look how it cracked right there. Yeah, it's crazy. Just talked to the customer and said he's gonna get a new rotor next week, and I told him I'm gonna have to charge her for labor again. That sucks. Oh, just so I'm clear, this car has no brakes. Like literally, the pedal goes all the way to the floor. Even before this, okay? He's just been driving it like that. I felt so bad about this that I went into my junk pile right there, and I was looking for, I doubt it, but I was hoping maybe I had a used rotor inside of there that might have, you know, fit his truck, because anything is better than this right here. So, but unfortunately I don't have a rotor. Alright, so this is why we have this problem in the first place. Here we have the new pad, and it doesn't fit. There's just too much corrosion, and you can't really fit it in the bracket. Look how far off that is. Look at that. There's just too much rust on the bracket. So whoever was here last just like hammered the pads on. And you know, with that, this is what it caused. The pads can't move. They're seized in place. So it looks like I'm gonna have to pull this bracket off and sandblast it. Alright, so as you can see, I sandblasted the bracket very quickly. And you know, obviously we have to reuse the old hardware kit. So this whole job just sucks. So the good news is sandblasting did work. I can now put the pad in, and the pad actually moves freely now. It does have both of the hardware clips in it, but this side is just too far destroyed from the pad, from this one, that we can't use it anymore. So What I'm doing is looking through my little collection that I have here, and I'm gonna see if I could find one that fits. So I went through my entire collection and I don't have one that fits. We're just gonna have to make the one that came with it kind of work. You can't say I'm not trying. So another issue we're having here is because the rotor is so thin. See the profile right there? It's like paper thin. It's not thick enough, so when you put the pad on, the pad itself is just barely hanging on the edge of the bracket, like it wants to just fall right out, if that makes any sense. Look how much space there is. I can put my whole finger in here because there's no thickness to the rotor. And did I mention that these lug nuts, practically I could have taken them off with my finger. My impact gun did not even impact to get them off. Yeah, if I would have just grabbed them tight enough with my hand, I could have probably taken this wheel off with my fingers. I remember how I said this truck has no brakes like at all. I wasn't even joking, because I'm done with the driver's side, so I'm about ready to go on the passenger side to do the brake pads over there. You know how when you get in the car you could pump the brake pedal so it gets firm? And now the car is off, okay? And I've been pumping it at least 20-30 times already, and it doesn't get firm. Yeah, this car literally has no brakes. There's a leak somewhere in the system, and they just don't want to get it fixed. Alright, so I was right about it being a phenolic piston. You can see someone has already cracked the one on this side. And guess what? I think I found your leak. If I didn't find a brake leak, well, he now has a brake leak because, yeah. So I don't know, this car just, I really don't know what to do at this point. And something so stupid like this, it's easy for me to get blamed for it because it wasn't leaking before I touched it. But the second you touch something like that, guess what? It leaks. And who are they gonna point fingers at? Look at it. Look at this. Alright, and sure enough, it didn't take much more moving around for that brake hose to completely separate and snap. I've already disconnected it so the customer could take the part to the store and make sure we're getting the correct part the first time. I'm just really glad that the bleeder nipple broke free and that the line broke free from the brake hose without anything else breaking. So I'm just really happy about that. The brake hose itself is about $25 after taxes, and the customer was complaining about the prices. You know, just basically complaining how he doesn't have the money. I told him I'm just going to charge him an additional $20 for replacing that line, but he could pay me whenever he gets paid, so he doesn't have to pay me today. But yeah, I know this really sucks when someone doesn't have the money to get the car fixed. Right, so it's already dark out here. The customer, I actually sent him with the old part to make sure he gets the correct one, and still the people at AutoZone managed to give him the incorrect part. They were saying to him like, oh no, it'll work, just you know, you may have to bend it a little bit, and like, no, it just straight out doesn't fit, so get out of here with that. But I'm going to go tomorrow to the store and try to find a part for him, and I talked him into trying to get that rotor replaced, the bad one. So I told him it's literally just cheaper to take care of it, you know. Alright, well, that's it for tonight. Alright, so it's been a long day, but I finally found some time to get working on this truck once again. As you can see, I picked up a new brake hose, so all of that is well. Still need to get some brake fluid in the system, and I did convince the customer to go ahead and get a new rotor for the other side. So there it goes right there. So after I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and put the new rotor on the other side. There's nothing gonna be wrong with the pads because the car or the truck has not moved an inch since we put the new pads on it. So you know, but unfortunately I wish I could say it'd be all set after this, but the fact is this truck just has no brakes, period. Before it came in for any of this trouble, I believe it has a bad master cylinder, so the pedal goes all the way to the floor, and that's how the customer drives it. He's okay with it. He doesn't want to put any money into the truck. I can't make anyone fix their car. So I'm just about done here. I tried bleeding the brakes, even though it doesn't matter because the master cylinder doesn't work. But at least I feel better knowing that I tried. Okay, and we have a brand new rotor on this side. So I feel a lot better about this, and I could sleep at night knowing that the rotor got changed. And that'll be it for this one. And I'm sure to be back later on for something else. Alright, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not a master cylinder, because after having my brake bleeder attached to the master over here, look what I see. Here's your problem. This is why this truck has no brakes. We have a busted brake line. Alright, so I'll let the customer know about this and see what's gonna happen.